What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be showcasing the main game mode of Splatoon / Splatoon 2. I have to say this really clearly before I start the video. I do apologize, guys, but I can't give you any in-game audio or even sound effects. I really do apologize about that. I wish there was something I can do about that, but unfortunately, I can't do anything about that, so there won't be any of that. But anyway, I am going to be showcasing the main game mode of Splatoon / Splatoon 2. Now, if you're new to the series, there is one game mode that you're going to be spending almost 99% of your time in, and in fact, you do have to spend all your time in it until you reach level 10. Once you reach level 10, then you can actually access the other game modes in the actual game. And getting to level 10 takes a couple of hours, a pretty good amount of time. They really just want you to get adjusted to the game mechanics and things like that. That's why you are spent your time in the main game mode. Now, just like any other shooter on the market, whether that be Call of Duty, whether that be Halo, Battlefield, you know, shooters got their main game mode, which is usually some kind of a team deathmatch. Well, in Splatoon, none of the game modes are about getting the most kills. It's not about kills. However, you can get kills in Splatoon 2 or Splatoon, but it doesn't really the main point of the game. The main point of the main mode you're going to be playing is called Turf War, and just like the game mode suggests, what you're going to be doing is you're an Inkling and you have all these weapons, and every single weapon in Splatoon, if you're new to Splatoon, gives out some kind of ink. It looks like paint, but these are actually Inklings, and all the weapons you use are going to be ink based. So every time you're shooting a regular weapon, whether you're shooting a sniper, a regular gun, as you can see on screen, I'm using an ink bucket, so you can see the ink bucket has ink inside of it, and as you're doing it, you're playing in a map just like any other traditional shooter, but instead of getting kills, you're trying to ink the most turf. Two teams will both have different colors of ink. For example, your team might have pink ink and the other team might have blue ink, and what you want to do is see how much of the arena you could ink before the other team. When the time runs out, whoever has inked the most turf wins the match. And there's some crazy matches. Honestly, that's what you want to try to do. Killing should be your last priority of the match, just because it doesn't matter when it comes down to the grand scheme of things. Now I'm going to go ahead and play a little Turf War, and I'm actually going to demo some of the new weapons that weren't in Splatoon 1. Anyway, without further ado, let's start the video. So before I start a Turf War match and showcase a little bit of Turf War, I actually want to go over your weapons and your gear, because maybe you're new to Splatoon or Splatoon 2, or maybe you're a veteran but you haven't played it in a while and you just want to refresh your mind and things like that. So I am going to be going over the weapons and all the gear right here. Now, as you can see on the right side, you see my Inkling on the right side. On the right top hand side, you do see Slosher. I'm currently using the Slosher, and here's all the weapons that I currently have. Now, how you unlock weapons, you actually have to go into the city and buy some weapons from this guy named Sheldon. He's a vendor. Just like the rest of your equipment, you do have to buy them from vendors. Now, the way you unlock it is just by playing normally in the normal game mode Turf War, and by playing Turf War, you're leveling up, and once you level up, you can actually start buying weapons. I think right when you start the game, actually, you can buy the splatter shot, so you are given a free gun right off the bat. You don't have to be a certain level to buy, I do believe, but then after that you do have to earn levels to buy all the guns. I think the highest level right now in terms of guns is level 30. Level 30, I think you'll pretty much have every single gun in the game at this very moment. Of course, if you're new to Splatoon as well, we are getting DLC just like the first one, so new guns will be rolling out each month and each week and things like that, so there'll be way more than what we currently have, and we'll get some pretty cool guns. But as you can see, here's all the guns. You got different variants besides your normal shooting weapons, just like Call of Duty, Battlefield, things like that. You can see we got a splatter shot, which is pretty much your standard weapon, just like any other gun game. It's like kind of like an automatic shooting weapon. It's kind of like a rifle. And then we got another splatter shot. Then you can see we also got rollers. Rollers work totally different than a gun. You actually roll around on the ground inking. And then also I'm currently using, as you can see, I'm using a Slosher, and Slosher is a paint bucket where you splash out ink. Now, looking at the left side of the screen, you can see that I am currently highlighted on the Slosher on the left side of the screen, and below each weapon you will see on the left side under the little icon of the actual gun, you can see that there's two little icons because each gun got a sub weapon and a special on it. 99% of the time, or 99.9% of the time, each weapon is going to have a sub weapon is a bomb. The sub weapon for each weapon is going to be a bomb, most likely. And as you can see, for the slosher, I do have a bomb. The bomb I'm currently using is a suction cup bomb, which sticks to walls, sticks to trees, sticks to pretty much anything, and then it explodes. And then right now I am using the Tenta missiles, I think they're called, for the for the special, excuse me, for the special for this weapon, the slosher. We do got the Tenta missiles. The Tenta missiles are pretty cool. I'm going to be demoing a lot of this, but there you go. And then you got different types of bombs, like you got triangle bombs, suction bombs, you got balloon bombs, and then you also got these bombs that look like hockey pucks. But overall, that's pretty much how the weapons works here, and it works a little bit different than your traditional Call of Duty, Battlefield, because you can't customize your loadout. Each gun already has the loadout equipped for it. As you can see right here, every single gun you buy will already have a sub-weapon and a special already tied to it, so you're going to have to live with it whether you like it or not. So you're going to have to find that one weapon. You may like the weapon but not the sub-weapon, or you may like the main gun but you don't like the special it's tied to. Unfortunately, you're just going to have to mix and match. I think the reason Nintendo did this is because they don't want people making overpowered combos. I remember in Splatoon 1, the bubbler, if you were to put the bubbler on some kind of weapons in Splatoon 1, I would assume that they would be overpowered. That's why Nintendo doesn't want you to make your own loadout, and I probably agree, because you don't want people becoming OP since there's already some good people online, even at this current moment. But there you go. Now let's move over now let's move over to the clothing accessories. As you can see, you got headgear, you got t-shirts, and then you got shoes. Unfortunately, in Splatoon, it looks like you can't buy any pants. You're stuck with the pants you get when you first start the game. You can choose 3 different pairs of pants, but they don't do anything. Will that change in the future? I have no way of knowing. But anyway, here's all the gear, and same thing goes for the gear, just like the weapons. Unfortunately, all the like abilities are tied to the actual gear that you get are going to be set just like them. So the loadouts are set on the gear itself too. You can't find your cool clothing and you can't put your own ability on it. You're pretty much stuck with what Nintendo puts on the clothing. For instance, you may like a certain ability but it's tied to an ugly piece of clothing. Unfortunately, you're stuck like that. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I would honestly like it to be a little bit different, because it would have made the game much more cooler. Because I remember in Splatoon 1, for instance, there was a lot of cool clothing I liked, but I couldn't use it because the abilities on it weren't my favorite, or it didn't suit my playstyle, so that's too bad. But you can see right here, I am using an Inkling hat. The Inkling hat looks pretty cool, and as you can see on the bottom of the on the left side on the equipment, you can see that each piece of equipment has 4 different slots. So you got a main ability, and you can stack main abilities. So you can see head, clothes, and shoes on the bottom of the screen. You can see that my headgear has one, my clothes has one, and my shoes has one, and those actually stack. I'm not sure how the second, third, or fourth abilities really work, but I do know the main ability on your clothings do stack. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show some info on the actual piece of clothing right here. You can see it also has a different brand. Brands kind of determine what kind of abilities you're going to be getting. The way you earn more abilities on these actual clothing items is just by playing the game. As you level up and as you use the gear more, then you start getting more abilities. The most, like I said, you can have are 4 abilities tied to one piece of gear. You can see I'm using the Squid Vader cap, which is pretty cool. Special charge up. Basically what special charge up is, it makes sure that when you're inking the place, your special gets charged faster, so you can use your special in less amount of time than what you would normally do. And then my secondary ability right here is going through ink. Basically that shoe, if you look on the right side, Squid Vader cap, underneath the special charge up below it, you can see that there is a shoe, and that shoe means when I walk in Squid ink and my other teammates Squid ink, I won't get slowed down. I'll still go pretty slow, but not as slow as I would normally go if I didn't have that ability tied to it. And then for here, I have Ink Saver, and Ink Saver pretty much lets you shoot longer than what you would normally do, so I don't have to go under the ink to go get more ink. And then same thing with my clothing, my shoe. And then there's a whole bunch of different clothing, a whole bunch of different abilities you can get for Splatoon. But that's pretty much all you can do in this menu. So go ahead and find some guns. You can also look at the the specs of the gun. If you want to look at the specs of the gun, you can see sub, seduction bomb, special, tendon missiles, range, damage, handling, points for special, turf ink. I'm not going to go through all of this, but there it is right there. If you want to look at all this, you can pretty much just mix and match. Now I'm pretty much going to go ahead and go into a turf war and demonstrate how the main game works, or how the main game mode works of Splatoon / Splatoon 2. See you guys on the other side. What's up, guys? So I'm finally in the actual game mode Turf War. Here we go. Here's a match of Turf War. We're going to start on Turf War. And like I said before, all you want to do is go around inking. Right now, I am showcasing one of the new weapons. Actually, in Splatoon 2, I don't know how many new weapons there are. But right now, I only have one of the new weapons, depending on how many new weapons they're going to give us. But right now, I am using the Splat Dualies. The Splat Dualies are 2 pistols, and they shoot pretty fast. Right now we're orange ink, and you can't choose the color of your team's ink. You just randomly get it when the match starts. As you can see, I just got my special on the top right. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Tensa missiles. If I can get this guy. Let's see if I can get this guy on camera. Okay, this guy's giving me some problems. I'm going to go ahead and take the high ground. Woo! Nope. I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die there, but at least I got one guy. Technically, killing people doesn't really matter, but then in the grand scheme of things, it kind of does, because if you can kill the other teammates, then it slows them down, and they can't ink as much because they're knocked out, and the respawn time will delay them from getting as much ink as possible. So, but your main priority does not want to be going for the most kills, unless you really have good strategy and you really want to talk to other teams. If you're like using Skype or using Nintendo's own voice chatting app that just released, then yeah, maybe somebody can go around killing the other teammates, and then some other guy can go around inking. And one little cool thing is, you do actually want to go to your team's base and ink up your team's base. You don't want to forget your team's base. Let me go ahead and activate my Tenta missiles. I'm just going to blast some Tenta missiles over to them. The way you use your special, as well as you click on the right stick, so you make sure you click it in. And you'll see on the top right hand side, you'll see when that gauge gets full, so you can use your special. And you can know when you're almost out of ink as well, because on the back, you can see on my character, there is a little, you can see his ink tank, and you can see his ink tank running out of ink. It'll also warn you when you're low on ink. And also, you got to be careful when you're going in the other team's color of ink, because it will slow you down. And if you stand in it too long, you will actually die. So you don't want to do that. So as you can see, matches are pretty short. They're about, I think, 3 minutes long to 2 minutes long. They're not very long at all, but they're still very fun and very chaotic. And this is the main priority this is the main game mode of Splatoon 2. And with the new Splat Dualies, you can actually roll. The way you roll is you have to be shooting before you can roll. So you keep shooting, and then you press the B button, and as you can see, I am rolling around. Now, you do use up more ink when you're rolling around with the Splat Dualies, but it's pretty satisfying to be able to roll around with the Splat Dualies. I know I'm going to die right here, probably. Let me see if I can get these guys. I just had to really just press the button on that, because, well, they were so close to me, I was about to really just get axed right there. So that's why I didn't really line up my shots right there, or really target them. I had really no choice. And then at the top, it shows you when your teammates are respawning and dying and things. At the very top of the screen, you can see it. And then at the end of the game, it'll say which team has inked the most turf. So let's go ahead and see if our team won. I'm pretty sure our team lost. Bad. Our team really lost bad. Good guys versus bad guys. Let's see what my final score was, though. I actually got 3rd place, and I got 2 tendon missiles off. Some people don't even know how to get their special, to use their special. But level 8, you can see you do level up, and then your gear does get stronger. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and jump into another match, because I need to explain a little bit more things about the main game mode. I'll see you guys in another match. Okay, so I'm back for another match of Turf War. You may see that we are playing on the same map. If you're not aware, you only get to play 2 maps every 2 hours, so it's kind of redundant, but at least compared to the first Splatoon was every 4 hours, so they did eliminate it as long. It's a little bit shorter, but here we go. We're just inking more ink, but here's some stuff that you may not be aware of in Splatoon. If you press the X button, you can actually bring up a map, and it'll show you how much ink everyone's turfing. You can see all your teammates, but the cool thing is, I don't know if you can see on screen, you can see that everybody has a button on them. They correspond to a button on the D-pad, and if you press one of the D-pad buttons that corresponds with one of your teammates, you can actually jump to them by pressing the A button. So you press one of the buttons on the D-pad that corresponds to one of the your teammates, and then if you press the A button as you press one of the buttons that corresponds to them on the D-pad, you will actually do a squid jump and jump to them. And that's actually useful. For instance, let's say all your base and pretty much everywhere around you is inked up. You don't want to be swimming in the ink because you're wasting time. You want to go to some places that are as heavily inked up so you can save some time. Also, that's very useful if you're in a bad situation and you just want to jump away from the other team, your enemies, because, well, you don't want to die, so you want to get away as fast as possible. So that's one reason you'd want to do the ink jumping, which is very useful. Now here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and ink. I will show off my, if I can get out of the ink, I will show off my sub right here. So you can see when I'm actually in the ink with my tank, you can see that there's an indicator telling me how much ink I'm gaining when I'm swimming in the ink for my weapon. But if you see that there's actually a line, you can see that line right now right beside me. There's a line. That indicator pretty much tells you when you can use your sub special. So if your ink's not to that line, then you can't use your bomb or your sub weapon. So you want to make sure if you're going to use your sub, make sure that your ink tank's above that little indicator, that line and that arrow. I'm going to go ahead and use my bomb. I just have balloon bombs right here. Okay, that looks like there's a new bomb over there. You can see on the top of the screen also, you can see one of my teammates died. There'll be an X over the squid icons on the very top, indicating when your teammates have died, which is a pretty smart thing, so you know when you're down a player. You can see we're down a player right now, and there's 30 seconds left of the match. Let me just go ahead and ink around. We're probably might end up losing a game, but I'm gonna try to. Let me get my special going. There you go. I targeted that guy. Let's see if I can get the kill. Nope, I didn't get the kill right there. And then that guy decided to kill me right there. Ooh, and it looks like he's using the same hat as me as well. Okay, we got about 10 seconds left of the match right here. Probably should have. Yeah, I probably should have jumped. Yeah, we might have lost this one. Okay, let's see if I can actually win this match right here. Nope, I wasn't surprised we were going to lose right there. Oh, I didn't make last again. That's pretty nice. But anyway, that's pretty much the main game mode of Splatoon 2 Turf War. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.